Welcome to this deep dive into the business of the Open Championship. When you picture the Open Championship, what comes to mind? A claret jug, some cruel wind off the North Sea, a commentator using the word magnificent 4 times a minute. Fair enough. That's the postcard. Here's the version nobody puts on the postcard. The Open is a business. A very old, very well-run, occasionally very profitable business, wearing a tweed jacket so nobody notices. And this year, it's being run out of Royal Birkdale on England's northwest coast, which gives us the perfect excuse to pull back the curtain and ask the question nobody asks while they're watching someone 3-putt the 18th. How does this thing actually make its money? I'm your host, and today we're doing the Open Championship's business model. Sponsorship, broadcasting, prize money, ticketing, and what a golf tournament in a Southport sand dune is actually worth to the people running it. Part 1. Who actually owns this thing? First, the organizational chart, because it matters more than you'd think. The Open is run by the R&A, the Royal and Ancient. And here's the detail that trips people up. The R&A is not a business chasing profit. It's structured as a not-for-profit. Whatever surplus it generates from the Open, it's obliged to plow back into growing and governing the sport globally. Compare that to the Masters, which is run by Augusta National, a private members club that is, technically, a for-profit corporation, and treats every commercial decision through the lens of exclusivity rather than volume. Different philosophy entirely. The Masters could sell 3 times as many tickets if it wanted to. It doesn't want to. Scarcity is the product. The Open takes the opposite approach. Maximize the tent, get more people in, more countries watching, more juniors picking up a club because they saw it on television. It's mission-driven commerce. Somebody, somewhere, decided that funding grassroots golf in 140-plus countries is a more interesting spreadsheet than how much can we charge for a jacket, which is a nice sentiment, and also, as it turns out, still an extremely lucrative one. Part 2. The numbers that actually matter. Let's get into it. The Open Championship is, by a wide margin, the R&A's single biggest earner. It's estimated to generate around 80% of the organization's total annual income, which, in 2024, sat at roughly £156 million. From that 1 week of golf, the R&A is believed to walk away with a surplus somewhere in the region of £30 to £40 million. Not bad for 4 days, assuming the weather cooperates, which, this being a British links course, it statistically won't. Where does the money actually come from? 3 main taps. Tap 1. Sponsorship. The 2025 Open pulled in an estimated $59 million from its commercial partners. There were 18 sponsorship agreements in total, with the headline names Rolex, MasterCard, Hugo Boss, and the industrial conglomerate Doosan, each reportedly paying somewhere around $6.25 million a year for the privilege of being associated with a trophy that's been handed out since 1872. That's the appeal of a major championship in a nutshell. You're not just buying a logo on a scoreboard, you're renting a slice of 165 years of credibility. Try putting a price on that in a normal marketing meeting. Tap 2. Broadcasting. This is where it gets genuinely fascinating, because the Open runs a deliberately split model. In the UK, Sky Sports holds the live, paid television rights in a deal worth an estimated $23.5 million a year through to 2028. But, and this is the R&A protecting its Grow the Game mandate, the BBC retains free-to-air highlights and full live radio coverage, a relationship that's just been extended out to 2027. So the R&A gets paid handsomely by the pay TV operator, while still making sure anyone with a radio and no Sky subscription can listen to the whole thing for nothing. It's having your cake, selling most of it, and still leaving a slice out for the neighbors. Over in the United States, NBC has a 12-year rights deal running through 2028, worth an estimated $50 million annually, which tells you plenty about how seriously American broadcasters now take a tournament they used to sneer at as the British Open and screen on tape delay. Tap 3. The fans, in person. And this is where the recent numbers get genuinely eye-opening. Part 3. The room where it happens. The Open doesn't just want big television numbers. It wants bodies through the gate. Because bodies through the gate buy tickets, hospitality packages, sandwiches, and the inevitable branded waterproof jacket they'll wear for the next decade. The attendance record currently stands at 290,000 fans, set at St Andrews in 2022. When the Open returned to Royal Portrush in 2025, it drew 278,000 people, a record for any Open held outside St Andrews, off the back of more than 1 million ticket ballot applications. 1 million people applying for the chance to simply queue for the privilege of buying a ticket. That's not a golf tournament at that point. That's a phenomenon with a leaderboard attached. And ticketing isn't just a numbers game, it's a demographic strategy. The R&A runs a scheme called Kids Go Free, which has now let over 400,000 children attend the championship at no cost since 1997. Cynical read, unpaid future customers. Generous read, actual investment in the next generation of the sport. Probably, honestly, it's both, and there's nothing wrong with that. Good commercial strategy and good stewardship of a sport are not mutually exclusive, whatever the finance textbooks imply. Part 4. What it does for the host town. Here's the part that should matter most to anyone who runs a business anywhere near an Open venue, including, this year, anyone with a hotel, restaurant, taxi firm or gift shop in Southport. When the Open returned to Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland in 2025, independent research put the total economic benefit to the country at £280 million. Of that, roughly £89 million was direct economic impact, new money spent locally, and a further £191 million came from what's called destination marketing benefit. Essentially, the value of having your coastline broadcast into living rooms in 150 countries for 4 straight days, which is advertising no tourism board could otherwise afford. For context, that 2025 figure was roughly double what the same tournament generated the last time it visited the same course, back in 2019. More fans, higher daily spending, up over 100% regionally, and significantly more visitors staying in proper commercial accommodation rather than a mate's spare room. Over half the crowd traveled in from outside the region entirely, and the majority of those said they'd come back for a holiday afterwards. So when Royal Birkdale hosts this year, the calculation for Southport and the surrounding area isn't really how much will the golf tournament make. It's how many hotel beds fill up, how many restaurants get 4 good days of trade, and how many of those 250,000 visitors decide the northwest coast of England is worth a return trip. That's the actual commercial engine underneath the sport. Tourism economics wearing a golf glove. Part 5. The one number the R&A isn't proud of. Now, for balance, here's the awkward one. Despite all that revenue, the Open still pays out the smallest prize fund of the 4 men's majors. $17 million in total for 2025, with the winner collecting $3.1 million. The Masters and the US Open have both pushed through to $22.5 million for 2026. Even the PGA Championship has cleared the 20 million mark. The R&A's own leadership has been candid about why. There's a genuine, stated concern, repeated by outgoing and incoming chief executives alike, that if prize money keeps sprinting upward the way it has across the professional game, it risks damaging public perception of the sport and starving the very grassroots programs the whole not-for-profit model exists to fund. Which is either admirable long-term thinking or the golf equivalent of a wealthy uncle insisting the annual family check stays modest so nobody gets ideas. Possibly both. So there's the ledger. 165 years of history, run today as a mission-funded, not-for-profit that still manages tens of millions in annual surplus. 18 sponsors, a split broadcasting strategy that sells premium access while keeping a free front door open, ticket demand that would make a stadium concert promoter blush, and a host town economic bump that can run into the hundreds of millions. Royal Birkdale gets to host this machine in 2026, its 11th Open, and by some distance, the biggest single week of commercial activity that stretch of Southport coastline will see this year. Whoever walks off with the claret jug will get a very nice check. The bigger check, the one that actually funds the next century and a half of the sport, gets written well before a single ball is struck. That's the business of the Open. Thanks for listening.